Okay. And we're live. Welcome everyone to the Last Things live stream. Today, joined by Erin Dawson of the band Genital Shame. She is a guitarist, composer, vocalist of, Genital Shame, an experimental black metal band based in Pittsburgh. And we became friends. When I was in LA, where we were both in LA, and then we've
That's right.
back to separate places. What's going on, Erin?
How are you, man? I'm good. I just had a tuna wrap, so I'm feeling really strong and lean.
Yeah. Straight protein, carbo, minimize carbs. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. It was a spinach wrap, if you even care.
I care. Yeah. I care about everything that's going on with you at the moment, you know.
Thanks, man.
This is a cool moment for Genital Shame, is it not?
Thanks for saying that. I think so. It feels cool. I don't know, maybe you've been in this position before. I know you have with Extra Life, but been in the position where I'm sitting on some stuff that's like in the can, that I'm like super stoked about, but it won't see the light of day until I'm 78, it seems.
Yeah.
So it's like, it is a cool moment, but the really cool shit is stuff that I can't, not talk about, but like release. So, but yeah, there's a lot of touring happening in the Genital Shame world.
Yeah, you just played Roadburn, but why the stuff coming this material you're super psyched about? Why can't you release it? Is it just because you gotta space things out, or
I suppose I could. I'm on a label, but I haven't talked to labels or anything about this. I'm doing this thing where I hope this isn't boring, but
I am not bored at all. I'm
okay. But doing this thing, we'll just hold on to your butt because I haven't even started. But doing this thing where when you have a record and you want to like pitch it or like or populate it to people who might care about it in the capital I industry, there seem to be a few approaches. One is, and this is the approach I'm kind of taking. One is to get all the assets of that release done. And so someone on the business end of things can basically plug and play those things. So the record and the bio and the headshots and the music video and the, God forbid, social stuff that I guess is now required. And that's the approach that I'm taking. So the music's done. It was mixed and mastered by your boy Seth.
Oh, hell yeah. Seth Manchester from Machines with Magnets, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Highly recommended. Right. Just
the best.
And the best experience too. Did you say in the apartment?
Of course.
Oh, it's such a vibe. Yeah.
It's such a vibe.
On that last Extra Life record, we were like cooking, like Timbo was making like pizzas from scratch while I was going to do vocal overdubs. It was like, just the most wholesome thing. Yeah.
So wholesome. So seemly. Yeah. Is seemly a word?
Right, yeah. If it's the opposite of unseemly, it was,
it's a lot of seams.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it's the releases is the music's done, which is like the hard part.
But you're like, so like you're talking about the business vibe. You're talking about doing the like normal. You're like for now playing the game insofar as there's any game at the moment. But the thing, album cycles, right? Like you've got to do album cycles. Yeah,
that's it. Also, before we earnestly get into some shit, I'm a little self-conscious, although it's too late to change this. Well, a couple things. I cannot compete with Angel's eyebrows, and I'm trying real hard. I'm holding on for dear life.
Angel Deradorian. Yeah. This is girl shit because I didn't notice. I mean, but this is like completely equivalent brows. You both look great as far as.
Thank you, Charlie. Also, I got really insecure when we started doing this, that my pores looked very large. So I went down to the settings of the streaming service we're using, and I put on the like Giga Chad filter. So my skin looks like it's been.
Are you serious?
There's a sheen. Yes.
Because I did notice a little sheen. It doesn't look unrealistic, but I was like, this is, very tasteful.
This is the subtle setting.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's called, wait, is it actually called Giga Chad?
I wish.
It's like,
And
okay.
version 2 of this streaming yes.
Yeah.
So anyways, I just want to call that out and know that everyone sees it because I'm seeing it too.
All right. All right.
Anyways, this is my face.
I look exactly my age, not not a millisecond less. Like it's
You
just
do look 27, yeah.
exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what Extra Life reunion meant. It meant literally a time machine. And anyway,
Yes. Yeah.
you're like, but so yeah, like you're talking about doing, yeah, you're playing the game, album cycle,
Playing the
visual
game.
assets, cool headshots, the whole thing.
Yeah.
It means
Yeah.
you can't, yeah, because there's also the more like outlaw vibe where you just suddenly release stuff. You're on a label, but you don't even tell them that you're going to self-release something. Surprise, they get mad, but it actually helps the thing. They like it, like weird, off-road vibes. People do that.
Absolutely. I think if I was smart, I would do the thing where I just like I've been listening to a lot of Dave Blunt's. Don't know if you know Dave
I
Blunt's.
don't.
It's kind of a meme rapper, but it's really great stuff. But he is, I think, one of those folks, one of those artists, I guess, who's always releasing singles, which I think is super common in like the hip hop world.
Yeah.
But I also think that there's some cross genre success with that approach to releasing. So if I don't know if you're like this, but I have like a ton of tracks done, and they won't be on the third record. But I don't know what to do with them. So like maybe I'll put them on a split with someone. But if I was smart, I would just be like single, 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 single.
Well, I mean, I think I mean, I know what you mean by where you're like, if I were smart, because it's like you're doing something, and it's like, what if I were doing the opposite thing? But I mean, it's you would be saying the same thing.
The grass is always browner.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I actually don't have a whole bunch of tracks in the docket. I mean, I usually, well, do I? Not with bands. I mean, something like Extra Life, it's very much like the things all get written as a suite. I even write slow songs to balance out a fast song, like stuff like that. So I usually don't. It sounds fun though to have. I mean, what I'll have is I'll have projects that I just totally didn't finish, like some chamber music piece that I just never do anything with, and then like 10 years later I'll be like, this has to see the light of day. But that's kind of different than having the like sitting on material that you're like ready to do. You didn't abandon, you want it out, but you're not putting it out because it's like, not the business approach or whatever.
But is that the like chamber piece that's been done for 10 years? God, like, isn't it so nice when you open up that project again after so long and you listen back and it's like, you know what? This kind of crushed.
Yo.
That feels really good.
Yes. No, it feels amazing. And I mean, forgetting that you've done things is so sick. I mean, just forgetting entire things. You're like, man, I wasn't really, what was I even up to in 2016? Like, was that, and you're like, oh no, actually I did all this stuff. Yeah.
But I was looking at MSNBC or whatever in 2016. And 2016. Also, as you're saying.
Okay. Wait, is that getting stuff done or not?
Oh, I just mean the election cycle.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Anytime 2016 is mentioned, my mind immediately just goes to that like water,
Yeah. That was 2014 kind of, I think of both, because 2014 was like, Gamergate. Did I just, to me, that was sort of like, sort of tipping point.
It was a seamly year. Although I think
it was a seam.
2007 was, I think, the best year.
Yeah.
It can be argued. And I seek to maintain that argument.
That is awesome to hear you say that, because 2007 for me was huge, because that's when I left Z's. No disrespect.
Yes.
Greatest shit for me, amazing shit for
shout
me.
Out Z's.
But shout out Z's. But when I quit Z's and then was like, I'm doing Extra Life and like launched it, that was, and the Saturn returns to whatever extent one believes in that, I was 27 to 29, this is sort of a little time period. Yeah. 2007.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. Was for 2007, was that for you personally a sick year, or just for music in general, or
all the above? Column A, column B, column Z's. I think I was it was my like first year in college. And it was a real renaissance for me intellectually. I was a really shit student in like middle school, high school, like real like C student. Really didn't put my back into it at all. Didn't come naturally. But I got to college and like, yeah, my lobes just went just like completely opened up.
Sick.
Yeah, and like I was working at the student newspaper and the radio station, and I was learning Bach as homework. I started
Yes.
dating someone for the first time. I was
Oh
making
yeah.
community for the first time. Obama was running, which I really liked at the time.
At
You
the
know,
time, yeah.
after Bush. So it was just
Yeah.
like this.
Hope.
Yeah, hope. Yeah, it was a year of hopium.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Hopium.
yeah,
From hopium to copium.
that's right.
The worst decade in history.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. 2000. Yeah. How about music in general? 2007. I mean, that's like trying to think of what was really hitting. Because because I was really hitting in 2007, but actually
Yes.
there was a lot of whack shit in New York. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Like, I feel like by 2009 I had like a community popping. But what were you doing? Okay, because you were so young then, you weren't really doing like body of work. When does your
No.
like okay? So Genital Shame, right? Let's talk about the band. Let's talk about the music, but also like that's not a super because you're a bunch younger. This is not a long running project for you, right? And when we met, you were doing precursors to Genital Shame anyway, right?
Yeah, you're nailing this. I think Genital Shame is just, I forget this all the time, but it's only like 2.5 years old.
Yeah.
It's not, it's pretty young. But I want to answer the 2007 music thing because I was really plugged into like the college radio scene.
Yeah.
And for me, I love indie music. It was just a lot of indie music. I was also like the jazz program director, you know, at a ripe and a wise 18 years old.
Yeah.
A lot of, but it was a lot of like Chromeo
Oh yeah.
and like Joanna Newsom and like Iron and Wine and Animal Collective. You know, Merriweather Post Pavilion was right around the corner. That was huge. But I imagine for you in New York around that time, that was like the end of the Meet Me in the Bathroom era.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. It's funny. All the bands that you mentioned, I was not into any of them on any level.
Yeah.
Like I was
Okay.
actually just like, you know. But
I know.
all the but
Yeah.
but then again, in retrospect, actually, now you get older, you're like, no, actually, there was quite a bit of merit in that era. But just
Oh man, yeah.
different ages at certain times, you know, you just
Sure.
it's like it's also you get older, it's like I can appreciate like objective quality or something. You know, I could just be like, okay, like Animal Collective is like objectively did something for real, you know, whereas like things that the time maybe things mean something, you know, there's something bothers you at the time about something.
That stuff ages pretty badly to my ear.
Interesting.
The Animal Collective.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
I'm the reverse, but yeah.
Yeah. Look, but however, the Iron and Wine stuff like holds up. I mean, how could it not? It's an acoustic guitar and a white guy. I mean, that's
so that's the,
one of the classic combos when it comes to
didn't
indie
hold
music.
up. It didn't hold up in the public imagination, but it's
Yeah, no.
it holds up as objective quality, you know.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry. We want to talk about Genital Shame. How do we want to take this? What should I say?
Well, but we can bridge because you were saying in 2007 indie music was like big for you, so it's like this is relevant to Genital Shame because Genital Shame it's a black metal band, not just to my ears, but also in your how you see it. It's you've described it as like this is a form of black metal, but you were coming from indie music originally, and not on some like, you know, I'm 15, I want to do Cradle of Filth or whatever, you know.
Yeah, that's totally right. I think like my path to metal started when I was taking guitar lessons, like classical guitar lessons as a kid, and my instructor gave me. I knew he was into metal. I was not. I was into Dream Theater and Metallica. That was like the height of musicality to me. But I knew that he was on some different shit. So I asked him what he listened to, and he's like, "Oh, I'll burn you some CDRs next lesson," and he did. And that was I remember really well, even his handwriting. So it was like a Catatonia record. It was The Human Record by Death. It was Cynic. It was Atheist. It was Pestilence. And that just like that opened. That's
so sick because you named a bunch of technical bands, which must have ruled. I mean, I remember finding out, you know, very guitar teachers, and then Catatonia, that's like not musician-y music, but is just fucking gloom and just emotion, like.
They're one of my God. That like those first two Catatonia records are untouchable.
I love the first two are the sickest, and then up to the one, what's it, Discouraged Ones, up to including that one. I love that. After that, it's fine, but I lose the thread a little bit. Yeah.
They suffered this, not suffer. I mean, I still fuck with the new stuff. I think Great Cold Distance, I think 2007 or around then was very good. But they went through the same kind of thing that like Anathema did, which is like meme, here's Radiohead once, ditches the DS1 boss pedal, gets a Rhodes,
Right.
But I love that Anathema stuff too, the post-heavy Anathema stuff too. But anyways, that's how I started listening to metal music. And then, like I went to college for composition, like guitar performance. It's a music major. And during that time, I was in like a lot of math rock bands and emo bands. That was like my bread and butter. But I was always like a metalhead at heart, but I had never been in a metal band until, 2.5 years ago.
Yes. I mean, I hear a ton of math rock, 90s math rock, emo, the strains of emo that I related to, pretty much. None of the strains that I don't relate, this
right on,
like the 90s, the San Diego stuff,
Yes.
I guess even the Midwestern kind of like stuff is somewhat right.
1,000,000,000%. I mean, the San Diego thing is huge. Like Pinback to me is one of my top. I think Genital Shame is like a Pinback cover band, just like with tremolo riffs and like,
Okay.
Like it's a secret. It's secretly, I think, an emo band, and I think that chimes a lot with not music, not sonically necessarily, but I think like definitely lyrically. And maybe that's something we could talk about too, which is like, lyrically, I'm not interested at all in metaphysics, really. I'm interested in art and in general. I like confessional art in general.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the screamo that I liked, still like a lot of the emo that I liked and indie that I liked is like incredibly raw and incredibly confessional. And so I think that's lyrically how I think about Genital Shame. I do not think about the cosmos, but I use analogy and metaphor all the time. I use imagery all the time, but not metaphysical imagery.
Yeah. No, this is a very good. Yeah, it's zoomed in. It's not zoomed out. It's narratives. And I mean, that's the thing about metal. But see, this is one of the things that I love about metal as a genre is that it doesn't require confession, narrative, the human. I mean, as anyone that knows my stuff, I mean, it's just this the most diaried out stuff, and anything zoomed out is there's a psychological stuff, but it's not the cold outside, except maybe in so far as that's scary from a human perspective. But I mean, even the titles, even if we don't, because I'm familiar with your titles and of the sounds of the songs, but I have not gone into the actual lyrics. But you can tell that it's about life. It's not about it's not about the cosmos or
and I think maybe that chimes with like the black metal conversation, which is I was on a podcast the other day, and I feel like I made this move there too, which is I feel like I need to get in front of the idea that, look, I love keeping gates. Gatekeeping is sick as hell.
Yes, it is.
But but I also want to say, Genital Shame, before anyone, and no one has come for me in terms of this, but like I want to get out in front of the idea that like Genital Shame is not a trad. It's definitely not a trad black metal band. It's a metal band that has like the bit that I always like go back to is like blackened. You go to like a Jamaican restaurant or something, and you see like blackened tilapia or something. Like I really like.
I always, when people started saying blackened crust or blackened screamo, that's the first thing I thought of is like catfish. I was like,
exactly.
I was like, I already love,
Yeah. So like, whatever Genital Shame is, it's not black metal, but it's blackened something.
Oh, okay, right on.
You know what I mean?
Well, because okay, if I were going to describe it, like, or if without hearing your take on it, if I were just, I would say that. I would say like blackened, some other stuff, right? But I thought you were actually just reading your statement, your brief statements of purpose. I actually got the impression that you were trying, because I think you said something about interrogating the limits of the genre while still
Yes.
definitely being it. So I got the impression from our brief chat that you had you actually had an investment in making this in the gate of black metal. Like, like you are actually.
Yeah, maybe I need to pick a lane. That quote was written so we got like someone to, you know what, like releasing a record is like you get someone, it's a good idea to get someone to write like a bio for the record, you know. That's where that came from. But I do like it, and it is part of the bio because, yeah, to the extent that I own the blackened thing or a black metal, like you can't play tremolo riffs and have like a fry scream and not summon the gestures of like you're doing black metal to some extent. I think for me that's the sonic bar,
Particularly the tremolo. That
particularly
really
absolutely,
yeah.
which I do. So, but I also am cognizant of the idea that like I have a really sugary taste for melody.
Yes, you do. This is part of our part of our friendship.
Shared.
It's like
Absolutely. So like I think that's what that gestures towards, which is like how many earworms can you fit in a song with tremolo riffs and like guttural screams or fry screams or and talking about eating dirt or whatever.
Right.
So that I think that's kind of what I mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I love about black metal across, I mean, even including relatively traditional second wave stuff is there is this, I mean, even stuff that isn't sugar coated or earwormy or with any emo elements, even the straight up evil minor, like even just like Satanic War Master or something, like there is, I mean, people care about notes. Like it is melodic music, even if it's just like, within a minor scale or something.
Sure.
It's you can play the stuff on an acoustic guitar and it's the content, it's like, and so that's something that I've always, that's one of the things that about black metal that's like important to me. I mean, I kind of, the thing is with black metal, I was saying this earlier, one of the things, some of the original gatekeeping of the vibe that it's like, this is about Satan and evil, like this is about being evil and like anti-human. I actually take that quite seriously, but not from a point of view that I think that that's cool. It's like, actually, like, I think dissection is evil. And like, I like, and I like it, but I don't, it's hard to like say that like my ambivalence toward black metal is not it's not based on that people killed it that's part of it, but the actual sound of the music, I don't always have this use for music that sounds actually evil, like actually satanic, and your stuff and my favorite black metal stuff does not.
Thanks.
It does not sonically fall into the aesthetic of evil,
Wow. Yeah, that's really interesting. And as an extension of that, to talk about you a little more, I think you've more been a death metal guy rather than a black. Is that kind of fair?
I guess so. I mean, as far as my OG, my introduction to getting into metal was death metal and like metallic hardcore before it was cheesy at all, Converge and Dillinger Escape Plan and stuff, so heavy riffs, brutality, but not the romance of evil, so black metal, I knew about black metal and I thought it was fine, but it was like this other wing of stuff that wasn't fully my thing,
Here's a prompt. To what extent do you think the technique of palm muting is required to achieve the sort of demonic evil sound? And
interesting. Okay.
And to what extent do you think the technique of palm muting is a minimum requirement for a good riff?
Damn. That's the most last things out question. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate it. And for that reason, I don't have like an immediate, but okay. Well,
It's been on my mind. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I definitely don't think palm muting is necessary for a sick riff. I mean, just as far as tremolo riffs being sick and just doomy stuff without palm muting. And as far as achieving the evil, I mean, when I think of really evil sounding stuff, I mean, palm muting is actually not necessarily really part of it. I mean, I see, I mean, to think about what really makes something evil and grim. I mean, that it's a little hard for me to actually pinpoint the sonic elements of that, you know. But I mean, black metal has less black metal has less palm muting than death metal for sure. So,
1,000,000,000%.
Yeah.
Can I kind of give you my take?
Yes, please do. Yeah.
I think like to summon demonic orbs with the guitar, which is basically, you know, the ethos of black metal. What you need to do is you need to start on the A string with your first finger, and then you need to create a bar chord, and that's an E minor chord, and you play that for an amount of time, and then you go and after you're kind of sick of hearing that, you go down where a half step, and that gets pretty close to summoning demonic orbs.
You mean just the bass note or just the entire chord?
The chord.
Okay.
So you have like that E minor. It doesn't matter that it's E minor, whatever. But I think like I've been thinking about palm muting a lot.
Okay.
Because like I mean, one reason that I like your music, Charlie, is because it's very rhythmically through compose is not the right word, but it like keeps generating iterations, it seems. I'm talking really reductively and generically, but like your music's so rhythmically fascinating. And as a musician, I am pretty insecure about my rhythmic sensibilities. And I think the technique of palm muting is, you know, inherently rhythmic, because when you are palm muting, that sets, you know, one sort of like vibe, and then when you lift your palm ever so slightly, that's the like left jab, right hook. You don't see it coming, which is dynamicism, which is what we subconsciously really respond to. And
you know, I'm really into boxing too. Like I do that. It's
oh,
like,
really?
Yeah. I'm like, I was gonna say I'm a boxer, but no, I do boxing training. But yeah, so maybe we keep going. Okay. Yeah.
So like, so palm muting is inherently rhythmic, and because my approach to music is not rhythm first, it is melody first. And again, I'm being like super binary and super reductive. I don't mean to be, but whatever. But like, so that's why I don't think a lot of my riffs are palm muted. I think I prioritize other stuff, but I'm trying to change that because like, not because it needs changing, but because I'm trying to grow. As I think like most musicians who take you know, evolution as musicians seriously are trying to do. So that's just the path I'm on for that right now.
Yeah. Well, yes. So my thoughts on that, like, as far as like, you want to be doing more palm muting, because well, the binary or you know, of like melody and rhythm, or it's really a you know, melody, rhythm, and harmony. You know,
harmony. Yeah,
those are the three things. I think they're useful ways of thinking. It makes a lot of sense that people break things down in their heads, but of course, you know, you don't need. They're not separate things, because I mean, if we're talking about Bach or something, you know, what to have just a bunch of eighth notes. You know, you're dealing with harmonic rhythm, you know.
Inventions are all about this. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is rhythm, you know, how harmony is changing over time. You know, it's like, I mean, a going to like a pedal tone, and then things are happening on top of that. That's a rhythmic. That's like rhythm. That's like stasis, you know, even if it's just eighth note, you know, and then like, and even, and yeah, it's weird, you know, but it's funny because I do write like that you're saying my stuff is so rhythmically, I don't know, that's a rich side of it, because I wouldn't say that it isn't, but I do a fair amount of my writing often comes from a sort of chant, like Gregorian chant kind of vibe
Sure.
of just a sequence of pitches. But, you know, I might write them just as a sequence of pitches, but there, of course, there's these rhythmic implications that I'm already kind of intuiting that aren't being written, but you know what I'm saying? They're like subconsciously in there with the note choice. And then, of course,
Oblique motion is a kind of rhythm.
yes,
You know,
yes.
kind of.
Yeah.
And
No,
I
no, no,
think,
100%.
and I think my impression of your music being very rhythmically driven is because my first impressions are just so memory making, flashbulb, you know, moments. And
Yeah.
my first shout out my friend Andrew Slater, who showed me I don't see it that way. And like the mythos was that this band needs sheet music on stage because it's so rhythmically dense. And I'm like, let me hear it. And
Right.
so I think that's that yeah, that imprinted on my brain that
Yeah.
like extra life equal sign rhythmically interesting. And I saw you, you know, in Pittsburgh a few months ago, whenever that was, or I guess the end of 2024, who knows. And yeah, I think some of the new stuff when you and Toby just like lock in, it's just like I'm like, oh my God, I could never write any of this. I don't know.
I mean, but you could. You just gotta like. I mean, do you use sheet music for any of your stuff?
Never, ever. And I'm super interested in doing that.
Yeah, you absolutely should. I'm again
Yeah.
not on the not on the topic of you need anything to change, but on the topic of
Oh,
just
please prescribe me, doctor.
trying shit out, because I mean it's a
Yeah, yeah.
technology. You know, it's the original MIDI, it's the original sequencer, but it's even more twisted and perverse because it's like cybernetically controlling someone's fucking body to like do stuff. You know, it's like Ableton, you're just bossing around a machine.
Yeah.
With written notation, you are controlling people's body with these symbols and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I mean, just that bird's eye view, because you know, there's a lot of stuff like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff where you might come up with something. I mean, the thing that's sick about like notation is that like if you come up with some crazy ass riff, right, you might be able to like remember that or whatever without sheet music.
Yeah.
But when you notate that, if you want to have other parts doing weird interlocking stuff and like filling in holes, like shit that no one, unless you know whatever, could just like remember and just do. But you might have an idea like, okay, every time there's a rest here, I'm gonna have the bass play something, so it's gonna interlock. You just punch that up, you know. It's like
you can't think about that with a guitar in your lap. Yeah,
it's hard, you know. Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of non-intuitive note choices or like rhythm. Yeah, I try to be. I think I tried the transcription thing in the last couple years, and what I did was because I used Finale a lot in college, and I loved it. I was a Finale bitch. I didn't. Sibelius was not my thing.
I'm a Sibelius man, but I have. Well,
okay.
but I've never tried Finale, and I have a feeling it might be better. But yeah.
Who knows? But a couple years ago, I tried the one that is like open source, and it like made me pull my hair out. Like it was so, talk about non-intuitive. Like the user interface was just so bad. I was even using like a MIDI controller to capture ideas, and it's just like I'm like, man, I don't know if this is for me. My version of transcription is not a version of transcription, which is a really great app that comes native to all iPhones, and that is called Voice Memo. The Voice Memo app.
Yes.
You know,
nowadays, me too. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I was at Roadburn, and a friend of mine plays under MJ Guider. We were comparing because we use the Voice Memo app the same, which is like you wake up at 4:34 in the morning with a melody in your head. I do a lot, especially if I'm in like the middle of writing and my brain is so melodically active that when I wake up, there's something there. It's a real gift. I am really lucky for that. But you know, you haven't spoken in hours, and your body is just like a little spider at night, you know. And so you go, one goes, I go with my phone, and I try not to keep my phone in my room, but I don't do a good job of this. So usually my phone is by my bed when I'm bad, and I put on the voice memo app, and I sing like my voice is crazy sounding, but I have presence of mind enough to like label it spirits having flown Bee Gees ass melody,
Yep.
and then it's I talk about 10 years chamber piece kind of thing. Like, it is a gift that you give yourself for the morning or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
it's
God,
sitting
this
there,
sounds so bad, but there's something here.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I do have stuff in voice memos now that you mention it. No, just little ideas that I don't think of myself as sitting on them because I've forgotten about them, but there's actually stuff in there. I should check that out. Yeah, I should
It's a treasure chest, I bet.
Yeah. But like, I mean, as far as just like, genital shame, like as a thing, I mean, these something that, and I often have to like resist the temptation to trash other stuff in order to praise present company. So I won't do that. But there's a lot. When I say that there's like a screamo element in the past, bands that are known for that are not.
They don't love it.
That's a thing that people have been doing. I mean, for a little while, like this thing of like, oh, what if black metal and screamo have elements? And it's like, you're doing what I want that to be, whereas like in the past, it's been this weird like thing where it's like, oh, let's see if we can take like really traditional black metal and kind of make it a little bit more humanized, but like it doesn't sound that different. And there's like a
name and shame, Charlie.
I'm not named. I'm not named. I've done enough people hate me, but that's not really true. But I like to think that it is, but no. But yeah, like I mean, just this thing of like emo, to me, the emo elements isn't just like this superficial sense of humanity. It's a deeper thing where the actual riffs, sound like it doesn't even have to be mathy, but it could be. There's this intricacy to it that's not un-black metal, but it's not, it comes out of some 90s emo stuff and the math rock stuff and this sort of like I just really like, that's just something I was just super psyched about when I was first hearing Genital Shame. It's not like overly technical, but like there's this like clearly little like thoughtful things in there and stuff that's not totally like blast beats. I don't know. Yeah, it's like fulfilling a certain promise of emo and black metal.
That means a lot. Thank you. I think like people feel a type of way, especially when black metal and the metal community and the metal scene is a serious community. It's a serious scene that takes them. There's a lot of self-seriousness in it, and I think it's natural for people to feel a type of way when someone, while trying to praise their work, says something like, yeah, I hear some emo influence, because I think talk about 2007, we're all kind of scarred by cute is what we aim for or whatever.
I only remember the name, but yeah.
Yeah, but just, emo and in name only. I mean, this is pop music, but it has this sort of aesthetic to it. And I actually do, of course, like that stuff too. Like, I love Motion City Soundtrack. I love those bands. But like the emo and screamo that I want to reflect or respect musically is like, it's a little more heady. It's a little more heady.
Yeah.
And definitely Confessional. Like, I Hate Myself, that band is
really
big for me.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And kind of like black metal, like that on the 7th fret bar chord thing down. A lot of black metal is really simple. It's stupid simple. You could play guitar for 3 months and play a lot of black metal. And I think the same is true for a lot of emo stuff.
True.
There's a innocence to a lot of the guitar parts, the twinkly stuff especially, where it's just 2 strings and you're holding 1 fret down and you're playing 8th notes on the G and B strings. Like, that's anyone can do that 4 months playing guitar, but it stirs something. It just
True.
it always hits.
True. But there, even with the innocent though indie-ish kind of aspects of emo though, I do, when I think of emo or math rock, like I do kind of think of people talk about like technicality in music and stuff, and like there's, to me, there's technical in the sense of stuff that like is difficult physically to play and like polished or whatever,
Sure.
but then there's stuff that's like, it might have the sort of simplicity and innocence to it, but there's like a harmonic, it has that searching kind of like quirky, like note you don't expect, or something, I mean, and that's kind of a thing like emo and 90s kind of math rock, stuff where it's like people are not coming out of music theory, they're not coming out of technique, but they're coming out of that headspace of like, what if we did the weird note, what if this happened 5 times, like just that that will to that searching or whatever, so to me that it has that like musician's music vibe, even if it's not physically shreddy, and I think a lot of your stuff I like, clearly you could be shredding physically, but it's not a lot of that.
I got the juice.
But yeah, you got the juice. I mean, check the Instagram. It's like, forget it. It's over for Cat. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff where it's like, I hear, when I hear it, I'm like, yeah, this is some musician-y shit, but not in the shred way, in the like just adventurous harmony, a little extra note here, not what you expect, the motion,
A lot of it is dumb but good. It's uneducated but effective, which I guess is a more diplomatic way of saying that. What's funny is that like what you just described and what I'm trying to describe is a sort of like bizarro image of like the jazz scene in the 40s or whatever. Oh, like a bebop scene or something, which is like those folks also weren't saying, okay, tritone sub here, tritone sub here.
Right.
We play the head after this happens. But I'm also doing an altered scale here, so do be warned. They weren't saying that.
Right.
But in school, like we analyze those recordings like texts.
Yeah.
Like they also knew what they were doing. But it is the immediate opposite of this emo kind of innocence that we're talking about. But it's super technical and super educated and but at the time they're just like playing their asses off.
Well, that's the early bebop scene. I could go on and on about what an inspiring, just the contradictions of like, you want to talk about gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Like if you weren't killing on the bandstand, it was like an affront to everyone present.
Absolutely, bring it back.
I mean, there was like, Miles and Charlie Parker. I mean, they would actually, I mean, how many times did this really happen? But I mean, there's stories about like beating people up for just like playing some bullshit, and it's I don't know.
Bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, the list of people who I think need to get beat up for purely aesthetic choices is pretty small. But I like.
Oh, okay. That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Okay. No, I was going to say. I mean, it's physical violence. I don't know, but gatekeeping.
Stranger to violence.
Yeah. Hey, yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, jazz is the most gate kept vibe, and it's like, it's got an anti-establishment vibe because it's like Black American music at that time, but it's also like guys in suits, like, so it has that kind of like hierarchical, like it's like so many elements,
It's that, oh god, it was that Tim Heidecker on the like that one. Did you see this I Think You Should Leave sketch where he's the jazz gatekeeper guy trying to play charades?
No, but I've seen that show and I thought it was I Think You Should Leave is what you said. But
yes, yeah.
But this is one, I've not seen that.
I'll send you a link.
Please do. Please do.
Yeah.
But yeah, gatekeeping. Right on. So like,
and yeah.
No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I don't know. I really like talking about the black, especially with you. I like talking about like the black metal stuff because, like, I don't know. Do you also think that? Do you also sense that seriousness?
Humor and irony is like zero. I mean, as far as my understanding of black metal, there's zero room for any of that. I mean, it's like
Mostly. I think like Abath or whatever kind of makes light of some stuff, but he's the only one who gets a pass. It seems.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Mortis. I don't know. You get into this sort of like, yeah.
But yeah, like I just reject so much of that stuff. Like I'm pretty silly. Like I do bits. My music isn't that silly, which
It's
is
not at all. Is there silliness
difficult.
at all? I haven't seen any silliness
A
in it.
little bit, maybe here and there, like genre wise, but like this is something I struggle with live, which is, and I was just on tour, and like this would happen, which is we're in between songs, and I'm doing like micro crowd work or something because
Yeah.
someone shouts something and I respond. What I respond with is nominally funny. To some people that gets, but then I play a song about like active shooters at a gay bar.
Yeah.
So like that confluence, or that not the confluence, that like there's a strange relationship between being authentic on a stage and maybe being silly, and then playing this kind of music, which is really serious, but also like what is a good way into this? I just really I think I'm a materialist, right? Like philosophically,
Okay.
within reason. I know that is a position that is not like the perfect position. There are some things about
And
it that like
what does that mean, actually? I mean, are you talking about like
yeah.
Marx, or no, a different kind of like?
Oh,
What do we
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a materialist in that sense, but just a philosophical naturalist or whatever, which is like what we can measure and what we can see are the only things that exist, and the things that we cannot measure uh, is not because they don't exist, but because we don't yet, capital Y, have the technology to Heisenberg that shit.
Okay.
And this is at odds, I think, with a lot of black metal thought,
Right.
at least when it comes to the metaphysics stuff. I'm really on board when it comes to um, actually embracing power rather than calling it out as this like weird animalistic thing. I'm really against the idea of the of moral values being served to you rather than you sort of creating your own. I love all that stuff in the black metal ethos. What I don't love is um allusions to Hasatan or like Seth or whatever.
Okay, yeah, right. Metaphysics, yeah, you're definitely not into metaphysics on the level of actual like
Yeah.
gods and myths and stuff.
Which is
Yeah.
also at odds with another band that plays this type of music, loosely. Very
Oh,
popular
right.
band.
Certainly. I'm
You know,
sure. Yeah.
and that's that approach in terms of thought, not music necessarily, but like is just like the total opposite of what I'm about
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I can, I can definitely see. I can definitely see from what you're saying about the lyrics, and from what I at least see from the titles, and that since you're not dealing, you're dealing with these human narratives and these real world things rather than the gods and monsters thing. I have kind of come though to view I mean, this isn't a pushback, but it's kind of a like, and maybe it's slightly a well, actually.
Please.
But in
Yeah,
my
please.
like when I think of metaphysics, I mean, any kind of human, like to me, even caring about anything is almost just like there's a metaphysics to it. I mean, just the idea that even forming some kind of morality or ethics, the fact that I mean this, I don't mean this in a perverse way. I mean earnestly, like the fact that
Yeah.
like some guy shooting up a gay bar is like fucked up. Like the fact that anything even matters on any level, there is some metaphysical quality. There is some irrational belief in something, the human, or what I mean, that it's not the same as gods and myths and monsters and the cosmos, but like I don't know, the idea of totally rejecting metaphysics, to me, it's hard for me to see how that's not like nihilism, which you are obviously like the furthest thing from not nihilist, so
Yeah. I think what I hear you saying is that care is a form of metaphysics, and that consciousness itself, maybe, which care is sort of under the umbrella of, is a form of metaphysics. And I think that is maybe, and I don't even know if I really believe in this with my back, but consciousness is one of those examples, which is that, like, okay, we don't know where this comes from. We don't know how it exists yet, right? And once we figure that out, we will be able to say, like, actually, care and kindness are outgrowths of consciousness in this way. Whereas only now we can say, kindness and care are evolutions of tribal mechanics or something, and just it's maybe kind of like the argument for veganism, which is like, just because you can doesn't mean you should eat meat or something.
Right.
Just because you can choose to not care doesn't mean you should, and that is a kind of moral imperative. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah. No. This makes sense. For sure. Yeah, I mean, the traditional black metal, or I don't know, some of the currents, there's so many contradictions within the original thing of, we are nihilists, but we also believe in race and nation. I mean, I don't, it's like, it's like you believe in something stronger than anybody, or, like we're evil, but we believe, like, it's like, if you believe you're evil, that doesn't mean you even believe in what you're saying. I mean, it's like, you're not even beyond good and evil. You're just like, I'm evil. There's just so many, these contradictions that are rich and cool in black metal, but I'm not caught up. That side of it is just not, like, doesn't really speak to my worldview, at least not nowadays.
To the extent that side of it was used as a cudgel or a trolling of Christendom, I'm completely into it. But I think Dissection is a great example of one of those bands that, like, we're not just embracing this imagery as anti-Christian poetic. We believe in a figure called the Hasatan, and he wants me to kill myself or something.
Wait, which one is the Hasatan? Because that I'm not familiar with that.
It's what we now know as Satan. But I think the Hasatan is what was initially in the Tanakh, right? And that's right. I don't know.
No, I don't know. What is the Tanakh? Keep it
it's
going.
It's the first 5 books of the Old Testament, I believe. At this point, I'm really so close to talking out of my ass, and I probably already am. But, like, the Hasatan became Lucifer over time.
I see.
Just in terms of, like, how religion evolved.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the anti-Christian stuff, and in black metal, I mean, it's going against the church, but it's like, some of the stuff, it's not just, there's the anti-Christian thing in, like, maybe punk or whatever, where it's like, you're against the hypocrisy of the church. You hate the church because it's hypocritically not living up to what it's supposed to be.
Yes.
The black metal side of things is like, we hate what this is even supposed to be at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, which is, I mean, in the sense of being, like, against the actual teachings of Jesus, like, against equality and love and all of these things. It's like,
equality sucks.
That is the black metal thing. Like, the punk side is like, you said there was supposed to be all this equality, but actually the church abuses kids.
Yes.
Black metal thing is like, you shouldn't. Yeah, equality was already a problem, but yeah, I mean, I mean,
I don't know why that's so funny to me. Sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm glad you. I mean, about half the world believes what I just said. So at this point, I mean, it's like, it's less and less funny. I mean, I think it's funny too, but it's fucked up.
No, I think the image of, the origin story of black metal being in this, like, Helvet basement or whatever, and a couple guys being like, all right, just take a poll real quick. How are we feeling about equality?
Right.
Everyone being like, just is a very funny
Right,
image.
right. Well, because they're such nerds. They're like, well, that guy can't sit with us at the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Therefore,
Yeah.
right. I mean, therefore,
Now
we
here
are
we are.
a breed of warriors. Anyway, yeah.
Right.
Like, it's funny because my friend Xylon, who I had on a couple times on the show, they said, yeah, they just described like the original Varg et al. As being just quote unquote just nerds who got in over their head, which is like a cute way of putting it, but it's like if you get in over your head and you're summoning actual demons and killing people, like you now are no longer just nerds. You are doing the thing. I mean, or let's say just nerds can be satanic, I mean,
murderous.
It's just funny, it's just a funny origin, like you said, origin story, but it's like it's so young and whatnot, but like but yeah, I mean, I'll say the one evil, this is not second wave, I don't know if this would be it's not really evil and satanic, but I mean the one like sort of disturbingly dark black metal classic that I fuck with on a deep level is Leviathan. I mean, that is like very very important music to me, and
very evil.
And that but even that, it's like, it's sort of, there is a little bit the personal narrative. I mean, right. I mean, more so than just like, the demons and spirits. Like there's something, some narratives. I don't know, like,
do you think that comes from knowing what you know about his personal life?
Maybe it does. I'd like to think that it doesn't, and it's just in the music. But well, like depressive, suicidal black metal, right? I mean, that's considered as dark as NSBM or whatever. But the fact that it's suicidal, as dark as that is, that's human. Your feelings matter, even if if your feelings are like, I'm going to kill myself.
Yes,
that's still not the cold, nothing matters vibe. It's the feeling of despair, but it's, if you're singing about your depression and misery, you're at least saying that it fucking matters that you feel.
That's a deeply human thing.
I mean, yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like, so that's what kind of, with Leviathan, I mean, so much of that, of course, it's not personal on the level of like, look, I was abused as a kid and that caused me trauma. Like, it's not like that detailed, but it is, fucking your ghost in chains of ice, I mean, that's like a ghost. So, okay. But fucking, I mean, he's talking, that's like a dream you had. That's human shit. It's like,
the early Zaster stuff is that for me too. It's really, really big. Evil music to me, okay, so yours is Leviathan. I kind of think like the first time I heard Portal, I was like, oh no, what's going on in between my ears and my heart and my stomach? This is like sickening.
I know, and Portal to me is sick because they're not even that isn't some narrative human shit. I mean, that is the Lovecraftian outside. And it's just from the sound. It's just purely from sonically evil. There's no, it's
Deathspell Omega was kind of like that for me when I first heard those.
It would be the next. It would be the next on my list of what we're even mentioning here. Yeah, it's
absolutely.
Just so unstoppable.
Beyond.
Just so unstoppable. But like, okay, so on the topic of gatekeeping though, like, right? I mean, you said you like gatekeeping. I mean, this maybe is, well, to me, this seems really obvious to say, but in fact, not only might it not be obvious, it might actually not be true anymore. But my impression is that, like, all right, 15 years ago, people playing a form of black metal that's not evil, people who are hipsters or whatever, it was a problem for people. That's not a problem now, right? I mean, you're not getting hate for, I mean, are you? Or
Thank Christ. I'm not. No. So I'm really lucky. I'm really fucking lucky.
Yeah. No, so that's, so you're not being gate kept out of anything. I mean, it's what black metal means is not the same now. I mean,
and I think I have like a sort of rhetorical escape hatch by being like, I'm actually not black metal purely, guys, so like intellectually you can't keep a gate because I'm not claiming that I want inside of what's on the other side of the gate.
Right.
But I think, you're totally right. There's been a sea change in terms of aesthetic gatekeeping in terms of like Deafheaven being, I think, what we're kind of talking about. Although I've heard maybe 2 Deafheaven songs in my life. All I know is that in 2010 or something, there was that the record with the orange sun bather or something.
Yeah. It looks like it's like design. Yeah,
Yeah, and I it's very design is my passion.
font. It's a font.
It's a font. I know who doesn't love a font, but I think
the kerning is very, very satanic.
Yeah, totally. Serifs are also satanic.
Oh yeah.
I think that started this sort of like, wait, maybe this can be a little kind of for civilians that you hear on Sirius XM sometimes. And now here we are.
Yeah. So like, exciting moment for Genital Shame in the sense that you just hit Roadburn and you did your first European tour. That's a big deal. First European tour is a big deal.
Yeah.
And playing Roadburn's a big deal, which I've never done. But yeah, I've toured Europe a bunch. Yeah, how was it? What was the deal?
It was cool. Thanks for asking. Roadburn was really cool as an experience. As someone performing there, it was rough. We so there's a band I play with called Stander. Shout out Stander. We're on the same label.
Yep,
They're
Mike Boyd.
sort of yeah. So they're like a post rock band, and they are kind enough to play as my backing band when I tour, and we tour together usually as 2 bands. So they're my backing band at Roadburn. So we all went from O'Hare to Amsterdam, overnight flight, and none of us slept, which was a huge bummer. Who knows why? Maybe the cortisol or adrenaline was just like, because we had to play the day we landed.
Right. Yes, I've done this kind of thing. It's
okay. I want to hear about this. But so we get there, and shout out Chip from The Body was kind enough to like show us the lay of the land.
Nice.
And then
those are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the best. And hours later, we had to play, and we were just like fucking hallucinating.
Yeah.
But I think we crushed. If I dare disturb the universe, I think we played to the most people ever.
Yeah.
And people were into it. Roadburn is really special. The vibes are so immaculate. If anyone's watching this and like wants a few days of just like the best, really interesting, but also like institutional, legendary bands, like Roadburn is really great. So anyways, yeah, Roadburn was sick. We also we toured the Netherlands mostly. So we did like Rotterdam and Utrecht and Amsterdam. Did I say Amsterdam? I don't know.
Yeah.
Rotterdam, Amsterdam, and Utrecht, and then Berlin, and back home. So it wasn't, the longest tour, but I had to go to Chicago to practice with the boys, and we had days off, which, as you know, are not ideal when you're touring.
If you're not playing, you're paying. That's what what they say. I mean, it's like you're if you want a vacation day, I mean, for sanity, having one day off is good. But yeah, a 5-day tour, you want to just bang it out.
Absolutely. And this was 12 days or something, and we had 4 days off or something like that. More not ideal. I thought it would be good. I thought that time, because I think like there were moments. I think if we want to talk about touring and like how difficult that is, or it was for me, it is for me and for everyone. But one of the ways that's difficult for me is like, I bet you're like this too, I don't know, but like I like privacy a lot. I really like my privacy. And I never was even close to like resenting my bandmates at all. You understand why people on longer tours, like I think I saw Toby was on like almost 100 and he played. I think I saw that and I'm like, how? But like, I was really like, I love the people I tour with so much. It's not about that. It's about like, I need to go to a coffee shop as y'all go to a museum or whatever, or take a hike.
That's what you do during the day. Yeah. You branch off. You have to. You
have to.
I mean, I don't run just impact on knees and feet, but like people, that kind of exercise stuff, going for a run, that's very good for people. I don't know if you're a runner, but
I am a runner. Absolutely. So there's that, and there's also just like touring is just like we were kind of emailing about this, or I was emailing you about this. Just it is a marathon of patience testing in like kind of every conceivable way, because and it's stressful, right? Because like I am this way. I don't assume everyone is this way. When I am not kind of literally right there on my couch and I don't have two screens in front of me like a modern American, I go to a bad place.
Really?
I'm just kidding.
You need the screens. You're such you're like dyed in the wool gamer. I feel alienated when I'm like 6 discords at once. Like most people, alienation works the other way, you know.
Yeah, right. But anytime I'm not, just travel itself is inherently stressful, right? Because the creature comforts are so far away. You're relying on such generosity from people you've never met, especially in Europe. You know, they do take care of you.
They do.
It's not like here. They want you to, they cook for you. They put you up. And in the case that they don't put you up, you find friends of the bands you're playing with and they put you up. And it's really wonderfully generous. Even still, it's not your shower. It's not your temp on the couch. And also like just traveling. Europe's great. They got a high-speed rail system. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Oh, you did rail. You didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit. Okay, this is different. Okay.
Yeah. But you got to be on time. And if you miss the train to Berlin, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And it's just like we played this place. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you found even a really good tour to be kind of stressful.
I'm being such a baby about it.
I'm not saying you are because it's touring people are very different. It's a very specific way of spending 5 days, 50 days, you know, I mean.
Yeah, it's super, very specific. And just like, this is not an interesting anecdote or tableau or whatever, but we played this place in Berlin. It wasn't the only squat we played. That there were a couple like crusty, not crusty. They're beautiful places, but just like in this obscure part of Berlin, and you get to the 4th flight of stairs, and you're like, oh, thank God, we're at the venue, we're at the stage, and we can set up and find our like European to American power things. But no, there are like 18 more flights of stairs, and you finally get up to the stairs.
Was this that venue, West Germany? Was that the venue, or?
It was called OGH.
Okay, yeah, I don't know, yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. It's just like it's life on like medium to difficult mode.
Okay,
yeah. Just constant.
Just hearing you when you're saying you want to talk about touring, I had this memory actually when I was like maybe like a teenager or something, and I had certainly not toured. I was just kind of becoming a musician. I remember I said to my mom, I was like, or I maybe was even younger. I was like 13. It was like, I remember being like, imagine if there were like a way of life where like you woke up every morning in like a totally different place. And it was like not the same place. And like every day it was a different. And I remember she just, without even missing a beat, she was like, oh, honey, that would be horrible. Like she was just, it didn't even occur to her that that's a thing you could do, that it would be awesome.
Yeah. You got to know honey quickly.
She's like, oh no, honey, like that. And I was just like, and the years later, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing it. It often rules, but that's what I meant. I meant this. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've been on like such a spectrum of, I've had, my luck with touring has been great. I mean, really great. Just as far as smoothness, I've been on a couple tours that I thought were horrific, but compared to what most people do, on the lower, more DIY levels, I mean, I've been spared some bullshit, of just like 10 gigs falling through in a row, people stealing your shit, somebody not paying you,
getting a flat tire.
Yeah, I've been very lucky. I've been very lucky on that side of things. But yeah, I mean, privacy. That privacy shit on the road. It in general, is great. But then I'll have these moments where I realize it and then I'll freak out, where like I don't need privacy, and then I'll suddenly be like, wait a minute, I haven't been alone for 5 days and I'm not going to for another 3 days. Fuck. Like, there is a feeling, but I've got, I don't know if it's an age thing. Right now, the Extra Life touring thing, it is so fucking smooth. Like,
really,
all of those dudes. I mean, Toby, I mean, I literally the closest we've come on tour to an argument has been someone being like, oh, come on, man. That's the most, literally, that's the worst vibe.
That's like, great.
Was like, come on, bro. That's like, that was the ceiling of negative vibes.
Fight.
Yeah. No, like literally.
You're really lucky.
I mean, but yeah. Whereas back in the day, there were like actual like physical fights and some of these.
Wow.
I mean, really psycho shit, but not Extra Life. But yeah, like,
I think it's also like learning your limits in a new way. Like, if you're early 20 something and you're like, alcohol is new to your life and you're finding what your limits are, that's kind of what I mean here, but just like on this different dimension, which is like, okay, if my body looks like a Tetris piece every day, which is in a van for 8 hours, how do I want to feel? And if I want to feel good, should I eat that like entire cheese pizza that was left in the green room because I am really hungry and I really want it, and you don't know when the next time it is that you're going to eat? And I also have 5 drink tickets and I really kind of want to get fucked tonight. And in figuring out, like, oh, the temptation is so strong to do that now, but like, I really need to think about how I'm going to feel in the morning. I mean, this is just such basic
you're in
autonomy.
You're in a bar every night, even if you're not sober, AA, whatever. You're not going to a bar every night in real life. I mean, every night you're there with free drink tickets. Yeah, it's I'm very good at this now. I'm very, very good. I'm like, sleep greed, I call it. I mean, it's just like
what's that?
Just greed for every minute of sleep I can get.
Oh, totally.
I mean, I'm just thinking of it as like money, I'm just like, how fast can we fucking load out? Who do I need? Like, just getting it down to like, I mean, even in like, it can seem a little cynical. This is like a little cynical, but it's realistic. Just being like, okay, look, I don't want to hang out with anyone tonight. Is there somebody that I have to hang out with for some kind of networking or business, or just being,
you're nailing this,
even just being polite, even if it's not hustling or whatever, just even like, who should be, like, it's nice, like, thanks for putting us up, but like, what's the fucking bare minimum? I mean, what's rude? What's the, like, how, like, shit like that, like measuring it out.
God, yeah.
It didn't used to be like that. I used to just be like, if the promoter's a cool guy, we're hanging out. And that's just definitely happening. I mean, no matter what.
Yeah.
And almost being like greed the other way, being like experience greed, being like, dude, I'm 27. If I don't hang out with this guy and like I'm single, if I don't like at least try to hook up with someone, I'm not even really getting the bang for my buck, as it were, for this lifestyle, and now it's like, I'm like the opposite. I'm like,
absolutely.
It's the opposite way.
I don't think I ever had that experience that you're talking about, which is like being green, being young, being experience greedy. Like, I'm mid-30s. Like, I also recognize that sleep is a form of wealth, whether you're on tour or not, and I kind of take this weird gadfly pleasure in being like, so we loaded out. So my ethical responsibility to be a good bandmate is taken care of. So now it's just me, and I could either go up to the like hostel or wherever we're staying, or as you're saying, like, meets some people in this band that I've always really liked, and also I think they're cute. So I should be motivated to say hi, but we got a long day tomorrow, and today was a long day, so I'm gonna say goodnight. I take a lot of pleasure in doing that.
No, absolutely. Also, as a band leader, that's the thing. I mean, it took me a long time to learn this, where it's like, you're serving them actually. Like, you know, I mean, it's like, I try to,
serving as in you're benefiting them as,
well, I mean, like, trying to make sure to be good as a band leader. It just, it took me a while to really realize the responsibility that I have to like making people feel good on the road, you know, rather than being like, hey, we're all in this together. I mean, I wrote all the stuff, but like, hey, we're in a band, the money's set, so therefore we're all like doing the same thing here. And if I want to get fucked up, that's my personal choice. So like, you know, it took me a while to realize like, look, I could get fucked up, but like that affects everybody. And people might be looking to me in ways that I'm not looking to them because I got them to go on the, you know, like that kind of thing where you're like, responsibility.
That strikes me as really hard won wisdom that you probably arrived at. I don't know, but you probably arrived at by, and this is how we all arrive at, hopefully, at things, by fucking up. Or by choosing.
Well, that's the thing about reuniting Extra Life. And it's like, it's not with the same cats. So it's not really reuniting, it's reviving the project, but reviving the situation where I'm the band leader, I'm writing all the stuff and it's, you know, I'm assembling like amazing cats to do this thing and I'm all grateful to play with them. It's like, I do have these things where I'm like, just like 10 years after the fact, I'm like, that's why Tony was pissed, man. Like,
man.
Like he was right in that fight, man. Like, I was like, I was missing for 25 minutes. Like, that's fucked up if you're running a band. You should not, people should not know where you are for 25 fucking minutes. Like, while loadout and gig shit is happening. Like, no.
Especially maybe if this was like 2009 when like smart devices weren't as pervasive.
True. Also true. But even just like, I don't know, just little things where, you know, just things you're supposed to take care of. Yeah, it took me like a long time to realize just what the responsibilities are. But yeah, so not everyone's experience of tour is the same, depending on their role in the band, you know.
Totally. I think my situation is also a little different too, because, you know, I'm playing with this other band, Standard, and when there's a certain dynamic that arises, when we have to figure out which platform we're on for the high-speed rail or something. It could be something like this. And I'm curious about the dynamic that maybe you've had historically and have now. In these moments, there are sandboxes of like, what is the natural order of who gets their phone out and finds the most effective path?
Yes.
You know, and usually it's not me, even if I, you know, for Genital Stand, which is based, you know, them playing with me, if I am like nominally the band leader, like that kind of thing, and it could be a gender dynamic too, I don't know, but it never really is me.
Yeah, I have learned and I'm just starting to get this together, is delegating. You know, I mean, that's a way of taking care of people. Actually, asking people for help can be a way of taking care of them. Because something I've realized. Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, old Extra Life, I was like, I don't really have a concept of taking care of business at all. I'm like, because I told everyone what the gigs are going to be, and they happened, and it's getting paid what I said. So it's like, so if shit's disorganized, it's like shit's disorganized. But then I realized, over time, like new Extra Life, it's like, okay, fuck, actually, yes, there's this responsibility of a band leader. And like bumping my head up against, like you said, natural order wise, really some of this popularizing of talking about mental, I don't know if mental health is the right word, but like, just neurotypes or whatever, really bumping my head up against being like, I am not wired to know what the Tetris in the van is. I'm not, like, literally spatial brain shit. I'm like, but luckily I'm blessed with not only are some of the people in Extra Life, like, you know, not only is everyone just like the sickest musician, but like, you know, some of the cats are very good at that kind of shit. And I'm like, man, listen, can can we just say that you're the guy that does this? And
Yeah.
you know, and I even there isn't like an official tour manager, but I was with one of the boys. I was like, man, you know, like if like, how about I just guarantee a little extra money? It's nothing like earth shattering for either of us, but enough that you feel respected, you know, compensated for just being the guy who it's understood that you'll notice that we need to do this thing. You'll notice, you'll check in with the hotel.
Yes.
Because it's not, I could kick my own ass all day about, dude, you're running shit, you got to do this. It's like, I can't fucking do it. My brain will not do it. I suck at it. I'm not good. I don't know. ADD, I don't know what you call it. It doesn't matter. Like, it's just, yeah. So that's part of the, delegating.
Man. Oh God, this is really giving language to things that I have felt, but I have not really been able to articulate. Yeah, I don't have the spatial cognition thing either. I don't even think about it as a neurospicy thing or whatever, which I don't.
Spicy. Well, it's certainly not interesting, spicy neuro.
Yeah,
but it's just like.
Yeah. Wait, there's something there. Yeah, and you're kind of making me feel. You're making me feel bad. I said that to
feel bad, or
no,
because you're realizing that you're fucking up. Is that?
I'm realizing that. Do you know this thought experiment? It's hardly a thought experiment. It's maybe just a thought, which is like, you know, if an apocalypse happens, what do you bring to the table survival wise?
Right. Oh,
you
God.
know,
yeah.
And I'm fucked there for sure. Although I do want to start taking like lessons for like archery, which I think would be sick. You know, I'm a runner.
Look, we've all played Dungeons and Dragons, and one of the attributes that you roll for is charisma. And a good DM, Riz. And a good DM will have a campaign where those of us who rolled high in charisma and high in intelligence, but we fucking ate shit on wisdom, and we ate shit on constitution, or even, it's so. There has to be a role, I'd like to think in the apocalypse, just kind of keeping everyone like the vibe light or funny or whatever, there's something to that.
Yeah. I think manipulation will always be rewarded as well.
No, I don't mean instrumental. I don't mean instrumental.
No, I know.
Substantive,
But I think in this framing applied to like, what is it as an orc that you bring to band leadership or something? And I'm like, all right, because I'm like a 12 Riz. I don't know.
Okay, we're doing on a D20. Is that we're talking
like a D20? Excuse me. Yes.
D&D, yeah.
But I also ate shit. Like, okay. Maybe what's the character? What's a character type that is just like warrior? I don't know. Like just stupid, dumb, but like has biceps.
Yeah, probably fighter, right? Just a classic fighter.
Yeah, that's what I got. I don't have like spatial cognition really, as you were talking about. I don't have. I think problem solving is maybe something. I don't know. Like if we're not going to get paid, having a conversation with the booker or whoever, I feel like I would do okay, but I don't know. I think I could sell. I connect with people and sell shirts. I rolled 20 for 20 on that.
Yeah. No, I think you rolled high. You rolled high for charisma, and that's good. I mean, I don't know how you are, but like with dealing with people who are assholes, sound guys. I mean, that can be some shit that I mean, that's also a learned skill, but charisma and shit can work with that. I mean, well, listen though, the thing is, if you're like the band leader of a thing, I mean, one thing you're bringing to the table is literally the entire situation of people being.
That has to count for something.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's the thing, and it's like, and part of setting up a situation is, I mean, see, a lot of this it gets into like resources and shit, but it's like in how much you're getting paid, or if you're able to lose money on a tour, like whatever. But if you're like, I mean, if you're in like a bigger band, I mean, not bigger, like, I mean, bigger than either of our things. I mean, there's like budget behind your shit. It's like you can be just the only thing you're bringing to the table is just that you sing and play guitar, and you've got a team of people dealing with stuff, so that's not morally wrong.
Yeah. That's not coasting.
Like, no, that's not coasting. It's just, but you just can't do that when you're on our level, and I mean, I'm lucky enough to be able to guarantee one of the guys like, hey, can like pay you a little extra to talk to people. I mean, if the shit is tight enough that you don't even have that, it's like, fuck, I have to do the bad spatial stuff. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some stuff, it's like you can't kick yourself for not having a situation, like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I two things. I'm honored that you would even think that I'm kind of on your level in any way. Thank you very much for that. Number two, I think when there's a shitty sound guy and I say, and I'm doing mic checking, and I say, drown that shit in reverb, please. And it keeps feeding back. And he has a bad attitude about it or something. At minimum, the consolation I have there, and this is in the other direction of confrontation, the consolation is that I can talk shit on that guy with my bandmates and we can dunk on him later. And that is a balm for any confrontation for me. I'll take that over.
It can be good for morale. Yes.
Yes.
If you can convert it into morale. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like how shitty.
Cast a spell on it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The shit I realized that is even worse than the spatial thing.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have problems with like kind of fundamental cause and effect, like literally just causality, like on the level of like on the level, I can't think of a perfect example of it, but just on some shit of like, well, if we move the van there, then we lose that parking space and we can't put the thing, it's more than just
object
space.
Permanence.
Yeah, like it's literally on some like, well, you have to be in the car to drive it to pick me up. We can't both be picking. Who's going to be in the like? Just
dude, this is real. This is real. Yeah,
it's and I mean the thing is, but I learning that like, learning that maybe I rolled different things on the D20 and maybe ate shit on subcategories of attributes that aren't even on the character sheet, because it's like, it's just learning that it's like, wait a minute, because that shit erodes. It can erode. It honestly has eroded my self-esteem. That's speaking too broadly because self-esteem is fundamental, but I just mean it's like little ego nettles of forgetting a thing or not noticing a thing or having someone ask you a question and your answer is I don't know. It's like these feelings of like micro incompetence that have in the past fucked me up a little bit, and forgiving myself for that and being able to delegate a little. It's like, right, okay, like I'm not the guy that I'm not biologically wired to be a fucking tour manager, man. It's been very helpful for my sense of self on tour,
God, this is real. I think like the way that I have logistically circled this square is that like I really love this image of like, wait, if van here, venue here, body here, what that mean, kind of thinking, and not being able to think through that, which is not exactly what you said, but like I've definitely been there. And two, my rationale for that is that like I'm letting myself off the hook for such disordered thinking because why? Well, I don't know. I have to play this passage in 5/4 and sing.
Yeah.
So my mind is on some other stuff that I wish I could be present now, but I'm struggling.
I know, but the thing is, the other person has to do that same thing and fucking know the van thing, But if they're more suited to it, then it's less of a strain. It's less, if people, and some people like to notice. Some people like to have the answer because they're naturally good at it, and it makes them feel good because they're flexing a brain muscle that they actually have.
Yeah. There were so many times on this tour that I had to be like, where are we staying tonight? And the answer was like, you were CC'd. What do you mean?
I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, I mean, this shit, I don't know. Getting older, it's gotten a lot better. It's gotten way, way, way better, and like realizing, I mean, that's the kind of stuff with like OG Extra Life where I'm like, right. Like that's, because people would be mad that stuff was generally disorganized, and I'd be defensive. I'm like, dude, no, we made it to every sound check. Nothing fell through. Every gig was great. What the fuck are you mad about?
By every metric,
but looking back, it's like it's the little moments of hearing I don't know it's that
Yeah.
it creates a diffuse sense of disorganization.
Ooh,
You know,
that's
it's like an
yes.
atmosphere, and I didn't get that back in the day. And especially with drug use, I used to do shit, and
Yeah.
it would never actually tank anything.
Yeah.
But just being like, he's off getting fucked up, it just creates a it's yeah.
Do you think that in those moments, and I don't know how we are on time. You could tell me to shut up whenever.
No,
Um,
keep going. Keep going.
okay, cool. Do you think in those moments when you were off getting fucked up and retroactively, you decompressed a week after tour at home, was that, maybe this is personal, I don't know. Was that more license for you for the story you were telling yourself about yourself, that like this is unproblematic because, as you said, we made every sound check. We sold shirts. We met with people. We got to the hotel on time. Like, it was that a sort of blank check for like,
Yeah,
if this was a
kind of.
problem, I would know. We wouldn't have made those things.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah. And I mean, yeah, just and also the arrogance of like,
Yeah.
everything went great and I got fucked up because I'm fucking invincible in 27, but it's like,
bonus. Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
but people, I mean, drug use and getting fucked up, it makes some people very fucking uncomfortable, and and it's justified. I mean, even like weird sex shit. I mean, not like it's
Yeah.
weird if people are puritanical, but like even
Yeah.
I don't know, even just basic rock and roll shit.
Yeah.
It's a chaos element, and you're in the middle of driving around to have chemical things and like erotic vectors and shit zipping all over the place. It's
What were you gonna say about sex? Yes.
Oh, I just even mean like just that vibe of like, people flirting with that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
This sounds. I'm going so far the other puritanical direction but I'm just just shit that never occurred to me back in the day. You know what I mean?
Right.
And this isn't even like I'm trying to paint something of like I was such a player back in the day. But I mean I don't even mean more.
I've seen your haircuts, Charlie.
It was good.
You're a tall glass of water.
It was good.
You are
a tall glass. But I don't mean But yeah, like I don't even mean necessarily just like hooking up with people, but just that that sense of like we're out here and there are these like side quests, that might happen. It's like the quest is already so it's a lot. It's a lot
Enough.
to drive 7 hours
Yeah.
to get to a thing and to have these other ingredients that are possibly like chaotic. I mean, there's a real case to be made for like, no, everybody fucking goes home after the gig. Like, it's just shit that over time I've realized different bands are different, people are different, and as a band leader, the general average of what everyone wants to do, like that's the will of the people. Like, it's not like you set the tone for like, this is how this is how things are. Like, this is the way of operating because this is what I think is reasonable. It's not about what I think is reasonable, sex and drugs and chaos wise. It's about what people are comfortable, what's going to thrive, what the band will thrive.
And I have a feeling that the excellent musicians that you surround yourself with would balk at that kind of thought. These are musicians at this level, and the artists at this level are super independent. I think like this tour, the European tour, I really rode that line that you're kind of talking about, which is I tend to be in my waking real life as a human. I'm pretty. I love routine. I prioritize structure and sleep and this kind of thing. And as I was trying to articulate later, like I'm appreciating now how important those things are on tour. But like, guess what? This ain't a dress rehearsal. We're only doing this once. How often are you in Europe? How often are you doing what you love to strangers? And so there's this like kind of premium to vote for the fucked up path. And I think I try to ride that on both, like have I'm the only person in my band with the standard boys, basically who drinks and who is this true? Yeah, who is single.
No more Geneva. Okay, right on.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay.
So unfortunately, you know, there are moments. This is embarrassing.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Oh, no. There are moments where it's like, hey, after the show, like, hey, are you guys hungry? You're hungry, right? You're gonna go get dinner and not be at the spot, right? You know?
Okay, all right. You're
You
really
know?
living that life. Okay, wow. Yeah.
But it's not every night, you know? This is what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm trying to average, you know, the structure that I love and living in a week that I'll remember for the rest of my life.
No,
And what do I want to say that I did?
that's
You
not
know?
dark. I mean, that's not
Wait, sure. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not too much in the chaos realm.
It puts your bandmates out, and that could be fodder for a oh come on man
Yeah,
later,
yeah.
and which I did get reasonably.
Yeah, these are yeah. There's also there's a degree of how manic energy, how manic it is. Because I used to just be on
Yes.
some like the set's over, I'm running out of dopamine. Like what's
Real.
next? I mean, you know, because
Real.
that's not on some like I'm young and I want to drink this liqueur. Oh, this guy has a nice
Yes.
Amaro that he made. It's
I
like
was gonna say Amaro,
yeah. That's one thing. The other thing is just like, all right, like I can't come down. You know, it's like
Yeah,
but
yeah.
no, it's an intense. Yeah. Touring's fucking crazy. But when's the next tour?
Yeah.
What's the next?
Dude, I don't know why we did this to ourselves this month.
Oh shit. Oh right, no,
yeah.
you're coming to New York. I'm gonna fucking see you.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
It's the 25th, right? Or
26th, I believe it in Brooklyn.
26th, yeah, Transpecos.
Yeah. So we're doing Chicago first, but then we're doing East Coast. We're doing like Philly, Cleveland, Boston, and then we're gonna go to Canada. We're gonna play Montreal, and then prepare the ground in Toronto, which is another festival. So yeah. I don't know why we did this to ourselves, but yeah.
No, you absolutely should. Genital shame seems like you're in a spot like this is, you know, striking while the iron is hot. I mean, it's a moment, you know.
It's all I got, man. I'm really trying with it.
But it's not all you got. But it's the main thinking that it's all you got is a part of, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing. It's like, if I didn't have this, man, I'd be on the fucking street. It's
Street.
Like, it's a way. It's good to think this way, you know. Yeah. What? I mean, this is, I don't know. This may be like a little bit dry, nerdy shit. But I like what's the label you work with?
Yeah, it's called the Garrote. I have to learn how to spell it every time I want to type it out, which is some the kind of like object permanence or like a very simple 5th grade word problem stuff. Like I feel really dumb. Same thing with the word license. Have to figure out how to spell that.
Yeah.
It's called the Garrote. It's run by this one dude called Josh Ford. He's great. Based in LA.
Okay.
Right on. Do you miss LA at all, by the way?
Not even.
Okay.
There isn't one possible thing I could try. Like,
wow.
The boxing gym that I went to there was cooler. There's a legendary place called Wild Card. My boxing trainer was cooler there. I don't think my current guy's gonna watch this, so I think it's fine. But the guy I trained with, there are 2 guys I trained with out there were better. Other than that,
okay.
The things that are cooler about LA, I don't care about at all. That there's plenty that's objectively cooler. There's nothing. The sea, the desert, I just don't.
You are such a New York guy.
It's really the like, but that's cool that there's a sick label out there that's working with you. Wait, a garrote isn't a garrote? That's like piano wire that you kill someone with. Is that what?
How did you know that? Yes.
I mean,
you read a book?
Doesn't that seem like? I mean, you know, yeah.
No, you're totally right.
Probably Jean Genet or something. I don't know.
Nice pull.
If I had to think, you know.
Yeah. For the record, I really miss LA.
Yeah.
I mean, Pittsburgh's great. Pittsburgh's really great, but like the way I always talk about it is like, I don't know if you've ever been into someone, but they're dating, they're taken.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they are no longer taken, when they are no longer partnered, they come knocking on your door. And guess what? You're taken. And so you just keep sine waving each other through time, missing each other. And I feel this way about Pittsburgh, which is like, hey, babe, like I'm here. I'm here. And Pittsburgh's like, I know you are. I feel that you are. And I love that you are. But I'm with her right now.
Okay.
And maybe in the twilight of our lives we can connect.
Interesting.
But yeah, I really love Pittsburgh, but it's like every other week you just read something about how another venue is closing or something. And the music scene here is just so, it used to be really good, I guess, but yeah, they don't make drummers anymore. That's the real problem.
Yes. So right now you're in a moment where you're right. Pittsburgh's taken or something, or in
yeah,
yeah.
I work with and that's how I feel about it as a city. But logistically, in terms of like in the inventory, you go up to the menu and you click the cog and you scroll down to inventory. There are like very few musicians who are in my position, which is, what is my position? It is LARPing instability on the weekends.
LARPing instability on the weekends. I can't even tell. This is some form of self-deprecation, but I can't tell what are you LARPing as, or what?
By that I mean, like, so I have a jobby job,
But you're in tech, right? Or you just
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I have felt insecure for a really long time, especially at work, that like, no, I don't talk about being a musician at all, ever. Some people know, but I kind of meant it earlier when I said like it's all I got. I have projects for sure, and I know you have projects. But like I don't really have a relationship. I mean, I have some friends here, but like Genital Shame, I mean, it's what gives me joy, and it's a huge time suck. Like, as I think I was corresponding with you about this, like, I think people would be really surprised that like the extent to which actual composition, note choice, and chord choice, that 5/4 passage, should it be in the A section or whatever, that is like 10%.
I know.
Of
the emailing
what
and
all of this.
Yeah.
Yes. But I try to cram that 10% in like any time I can. Then I realized like people at work have kids.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yes. As far as all you have. Yeah. Yes. I know.
Yeah. And like, it's okay. This is my kind of like.
No, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this shit motivates me even more because I'm like, dude, if you're not doing other stuff, I mean, this has to be like the deepest.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're only doing this, it's like, it's inexcusable if it's not sick. But like, yeah.
But to the exclusion of other shit too, which I'm trying to calibrate in my life. I, spoke about loving structure earlier, but like, I don't know about you, man. I doubt this is true for you, actually. But like, my literacy muscle has completely atrophied, like many people. And feeding myself, like, artistic nutrition is really suffering for me right now. And I'm a huge believer in the idea that like our subconscious, for me, this is really true, that like my subconscious is a huge generator of creativity. I think for a lot of people that's true. I know it's true for me. I talked earlier about like waking up with melodies, like what I surround myself and listen to, and movies I watch, or poetry I read, really feeds me. And that's really been lacking lately,
Yeah, and the thing that I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, yeah, the thing that gets in the way of that is all the admin shit for running a band. I mean, I think, I think people don't do this. Don't fully understand how even if you're not on some like desperate hustler, like business above all else thing, even if just to do the bare minimum of logistics of running a band and booking tours, it dwarfs the creative process. Even if you're someone who's just keeping it real and not trying to fucking reach too hard, it's like,
and the guilt of seeing an unread message or email that like affects the longevity or sustainability or the your band prospering in any way, and neglecting that is just like a dog barking at you all the time and trying to ignore.
Right.
But like LARPing on the weekends, like I mean, it would be almost ideal for me to, I'm in Pittsburgh, so that means I'm somewhat centrally located to a lot of, sounds so gross to put it this way, but markets.
Yeah,
And by
markets.
markets, I mean just cities,
I know,
right?
but
Like,
saying that, I started saying markets. I always preface. I always do what you just did, but I do say it because it is market. Yeah.
Well, because it is.
Yeah.
But the weekends, I'm proud to be a weekend warrior, right? Like I'm in the company of Charles Ives. Like I'm fine.
When you said LARPing, you mean the fact of even having a day job makes you feel like you have imposter syndrome? Is that
Maybe that's what I'm getting.
Look, first of all, I mean, people pretend they don't have day jobs, and people lie about why they don't have day jobs. I mean, you gotta. I mean, it's not like you're just in the company of Charles Ives. You're in the company of most people doing great shit. You know what I mean? I mean, I mean, I've worked, a fair number of like teaching jobs and stuff, but I mean, like I have money from my family. I mean, like help from them over the years. I mean, like like my life would be different if I were coming from zero. Day jobs. But you're not supposed to be making money. Like the amount, you have to be so fucking big to be really making money as a band. I mean, there are a lot of people I know. Okay, I know.
Is it possible? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know it seems like there are people I know who are making weirdo music and do not have and are making a living at it. Are if it's just a band thing and you're just like actually playing in bands and you have to really get up before you're like you have to have like you have to be in the range of selling like 10,000 records to even be able to like pay rent in a decent city, whatever, like that level, and touring on that level. But like all the people, I don't know, New York, there's more opportunities for shit, but like people who are in the more on the capital E experimental music. I mean, people who are like their career thing is that they're like a quote unquote composer with the capital C, improviser with the capital I, electronic, there's institutional funding. I mean, that's what, you get grants and shit. And then you're still not rich. You're still not rich, but you're like paying rent, living, maybe even paying a mortgage and like, making weirdo music and you're selling 2,000 copies or 1,000 copies of a record, and you're only playing to 500 people if it's a festival. You're not going into a club. I mean, to be someone who's playing weirdo music, you're playing weirdo music, not you, but a person playing weirdo music, and you're not funded by any kind of institution, and you're literally just booking gigs at clubs in cities that aren't even that big. Like, to show up, I mean, to think you're going to bring 1,000 people to a gig. I mean, I don't know. Like,
no, I know. I think part of the LARPing for me is last year in Cincinnati. This is only last year. We slept on someone's floor, and that's kind of what I mean by instability. Like, I am privileged. I am lucky. I am lowercase b blessed to have the safety net of stability that I do have, which is to say, to be gainfully employed. I'm really lucky.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that like I don't know if this is interesting to talk about. Like, I spend money on like if I didn't, like, I lose money on Genital Shame, but I'm willing to do that because see above, because Genital Shame is my son or whatever, and this is daycare, and I'm happy to do it.
I like that a lot. This is daycare for my child. Yeah. It's interesting you said son first, but yeah, it doesn't.
I know. I was
why
in
is
that
this
moment.
Shame male? Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we could have got a hotel, I guess, instead of sleeping on the Cincinnati stranger's floor. My favorite Guided by Voices EP. Stock joke. Sorry.
Nice. Yeah, I do like GBV. They're great. Yeah.
Oh, the best. So anyways, all that to say, like, even though the people I play with are pretty stable, whatever that means, it doesn't exclude playing to 9 people and then sleeping on someone's floor, like what happened in Cincinnati.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Never forget.
it's also it's good to not get too like demoralized though, because it's like Genital Shame could really climb up and get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you could still have those shows like literally the exact same 9 people and you sleep on the floor, but you're getting more and more people in New York and more people in LA, and then you decide whether you still do the Cincinnati show. You know, I don't know, but
yeah, I'm not too jaded or something enough to think that like that playing to 9 people is out of the realm of possibility. I am prepared to eat shit anytime we play.
Yeah.
You know,
but
like it's kind of what you sign up for.
But if things get bigger and bigger for you elsewhere, then you could more comfortably afford to do a
It
hotel.
offsets it.
And then it's not the floor. I mean, I would really recommend that you get onto some, or I mean, whatever. Just if you're on some like, damn, having a day job is damn whatever. Like, I mean, applying for like grant money and like, you know, institutional support on some like, this is, you know, and like framing stuff on something like not on some like, we're a band that plays clubs and it's just a name and I happen to be, you know, really being like, I'm Erin Dawson, I'm a composer, come up with a narrative that is, you know, truthful but rounded to things that
I
might
like this.
be, you know what I'm saying?
Like, I like this.
Whatever's, don't bullshit, but come up with a bio that's like, okay, steering things in the direction of what someone might like about you on an institutional level and the music, and spin it as composition with the capital C. You know,
I like this. I'm going to think about this. Absolutely. I do want to say that, like, I don't, God, people always ask me this, like, are you ashamed of your genitals? And the answer is no, baby, I'm not. But I don't have shame about being gainfully employed. Where it becomes a problem is finding other people in my situation who are stable enough to do it on the I don't know, and take PTO, take time off.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying. There are very few of those people in Pittsburgh.
I see what you, right. Like people who are making enough money that they can do this on the weekend,
literally,
and not really, and maybe come out in the plus, but they're not really making money or whatever, and they can leave the job, they can take time off of the job or whatever. But yeah. But I mean, like, okay, this isn't an answer for money, but just as an example of a type of thing. I mean, you're in Pittsburgh, right? Like, have you ever done like, or, you know, like Genital Shame at the Warhol Museum in collaboration with some local contemporary music ensemble who's trying to be, they want to get a little bit cooler by working with a black metal act or whatever, and they, you know, they have a funding stream that like shit like that, you know what I mean? Like you could actually, and then you get one gig that pays a bunch of money, everyone in the band is psyched, it's local, then maybe they're more likely to go on tour for the next tour, you know, whatever.
Yeah. The stuff that you're pulling off the dome right now is shit that I am so myopic about. Like, it would never occur to me to do what you just said. But it's right there. I know, but I'm like, okay, I got to open this project today because I think I got an idea I can capture for this next section in this. I am not fit. I don't think that way. Maybe it would behoove me to.
Well, I brought up the Warhol Museum though, because it's like, as an example of some shit where it's like, you probably spent the amount of, doing a proposal for that.
Yeah.
The least fun thing in the world. I mean, I could not think
torturous.
Of what I want to do less.
Torturous.
Yeah. But I mean, is it more tortuous than like trying to work things out for like a string of like 3 gigs to connect in between on some tour in small German cities where there's not going to be people, and like trying to make sure that you can get like an extra $100 of guarantee and like shit like that. You know what I mean? Like you might,
it's a little more torturous. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But yeah.
Like, but with the band thing, you feel like you got to do that thing of like, you know, I have to do the 4 gig, and like that's all part of the thing, is that kind of tortuousness. Whereas like that Warhol shit, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, just as an example, you know.
No, God, this is really generative and productive for me. I think like and I don't like this as a pattern or as a temptation, but I'm really starting to give in to the idea of having work. We started the top of this call talking about this to some extent, but having work in the can, having something that, whether it's from 10 years ago or just like a fully fleshed out, ready to go plug and play record, I'm starting to really follow this path of getting wanting a lot of canned stuff because it feels safe or something. I don't know what the appeal is to me, but if I could always reach back to having a next thing already done, it feels really psychologically safe for me.
That rules. No, that rules. That is very good though. Yeah.
But it's
yeah.
I think I'm bringing it up because it's preventing me from thinking about a sort of wider purview of like opportunity that you just off the domes. And I'm like, no. I need to go to the can factory.
Right, like you're so like banded out, like it's just yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, well, it doesn't have to be either or, you know, but it's like, I mean, it seems, I mean, people tell me I should, you know, do more applying for institutional type stuff. I mean, you know, I probably don't do that kind of stuff enough, because it just seems like what people are looking for. Maybe it doesn't fit with, you know, because it's like you don't want to come up with some shit that's like bullshit, you know, but you want to look at what you're doing and sort of spin it, you know what I mean? I mean, there's like, you know, stuff people might be into, politics, identity. I mean, there's stuff that's like not like the whole thrust, but it's not like the whole thrust of your shit, but it's like maybe like something, you know, like you know, might be interesting. And collaboration, people love collaboration too, you know.
They do. Yeah, I think over time the idea that like I'm trans is important at all to Genital Shame's identity is kind of is becoming less important. Right. I think
was it
to me maybe in the beginning it was like how do I fuse these two ideas together? But I think like I believe in meritocracy. Is that so bad?
Right.
You know,
right.
like I want it to speak for itself, and I could be an elephant, and it should still be treated the same or thought of or you know, in the same way, listened to in the same way.
Yeah.
I would hope. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, of course I think that way, but yeah, well, of course, you know, yeah, like playing up certain things that you've, you know, you're kind of like, it's not an inspiring node for you at the moment, you know, that could feel cynical and whack, and you know, maybe fuck that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if there are things that like are real to you in those domains, and it's just like, well, you know, like it is actually a part of what you're doing, and you know, like lyrically, you know, I mean, stuff that you're like, that maybe, like stuff like that where you're not trying to like foreground the hell out of it in Genital Shame, but
if you would permit me to be topical politically,
please.
I think, you know, what we're going to start seeing, which is a fancy way of something has already happened, but I get to look smart because I can sort of make a nearsighted prediction about things.
Right on.
Is that the types of grants that we're talking about on an institutional level, if they haven't already started drying up, it is imminent. It has to be, right? Especially from like a DEI POV.
Oh, just on some right. Yeah.
You know, so like this is a crass way to put it, but playing that card, the capital that you get with that card, that Amex, that identity card is being deflated daily.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're gonna get into, I know this is the thing.
Please.
I'm well, yeah, no, it's like the advice I'm giving you, right? It's like I possibly it's already out of it's already out of date though, right? I mean, in a sense, yeah, and with this new shit, the regime, it's like it might. It's like not only might the grants be drying up, but it might even be a fucking liability. I mean, like depending on how fashed out things get, you know. But
yes.
Yeah.
I have a friend who who lives and works in your favorite city, Los Angeles. And she, she's a creator. She's a writer. Like she writes scripts. She gets paid. This is what she does. And a lot of her stuff is, she's trans. So a lot of it is speculative fiction that is gender fucky. That's her thing.
Yeah.
And what boots on the ground, her perspective right now is like, the interest in this kind of stuff is absolutely withering.
Yeah.
In real time. So it's concerning and a
Yeah.
bummer. What can you.
Yeah. Well, so maybe not that kind of thing. I mean, well, even if that stuff wasn't drying out, it's. I feel actually maybe a little bit crass that I even sort of gently sort of brought
not
that
at all.
up. I'm just trying to think. You're like, I don't want a day job. I'm like, well, maybe your day job could be just being who you already are and just talking.
I want a day job.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I have no shame in having it, and I'm really lucky, and I enjoy the benefits. Talk about capitalization, like the lowercase b and uppercase benefits, health insurance, this kind of thing. I'm really lucky, but yeah, is it ideal to be an artist full time? Yeah, but would Charles Ives written the Housatonic at Stockbridge if he didn't have that job as a whatever he was, insurance? Like, no, like I'm happy to. Yeah.
The thing that's sick about Charles Ives is apparently he actually innovated stuff within insurance.
That's fucking sick.
Like he's actually in that world like a cat, which is kind of sick.
The insurance game.
The insurance game. He was But also people don't think about day jobs in the sense of like, the great classical composers of yore. When you're writing music for the king, that's a day job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're writing music, for Stalin, that's it's your day job. If you're writing music for the church, these are like none of that great shit was thrived in like the market. It wasn't market logics and mechanisms. It was like the weird like aesthetic caprice of some aristocrat, like or
insane person,
or whatever. Which is why a lot
with
of that
gout.
It's why which is how a lot of sick stuff has been made, because it's not like just this weird like market-based capitalist thing where like everyone's whatever that is, whatever.
You know what? I think on the whole there could be an argument made for a certain period of time. Commissioned work is aesthetically superior to work that was created just from the heart. I think maybe I'm biased right now because a few months ago the PSO, the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra, incredible orchestra, played Shostakovich 15, Last Symphony, not under any regime, just from the heart, a final goodbye, a symphonic goodbye.
I don't know that one actually, but yeah.
And it's not. I didn't like. I'll go to anything programmed with my man Shosty. Like even if it's the really awful, the like piano quartet in G minor that everyone loves for some reason.
Not my favorite.
And 15 kind of blew. And it's no 10, 5 or 10 or whatever. I think or the string quartets like the Stalins like. And then Bach, Handel, like all this stuff is commissioned.
Somebody, I mean see, this is the thing about DIY that's weird, is that like DIY, right? Like coming out of, I say punk in the most not even genre specific way, but just the culture of playing in DIY venues and putting out your own records, blah, blah, blah. That's actually a capitalist. Even if you're trying to like avoid, you're like, oh, I don't want to be part of the music industry. There's an anti-capitalist thing, but you are actually still operating with markets in the sense that you're trying to get people to buy your records based on people liking it, rather than money from above, rather than money from an institution or from the king or whatever. So that's that's the thing about DIY. Not that it's capitalist in the bad sense, but that it's you're selling and stuff.
Of course.
It's mom and pop. It's not a store. It's just a mom and pop store. You're like, fuck Walmart, but it's still operating like a business, DIY. You know, it's not operating like the king's birthday party or, you know, a procession for the coronation or whatever, you know.
Yeah. I have two things to say about this. One is a really uncharacteristically pessimistic thought for me, which is I think we all like supporting small businesses. But I'm really cynical about the idea that like that small business given enough attention and actual business would become a Sam Walton legacy. I mean, this is sort of the logic of growth.
Wait, who is Sam Walton? Sorry.
Oh, just like the dude who invented Walmart.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But like, I mean, that's the logic. I mean, that's not a mom and pop value. That is, we don't have to. I find this stuff very boring, so I'll make this very quickly. But make this very quick. But like that, I think that is the logic of capitalism, right? Where it's like we're supporting this mom and pop business, but given the right opportunities, that small business would become target or would become so that's one just passing thought, which is hardly even a thought. And then I want to give you a prompt, and I want to know the extent to which you agree with this statement.
Right.
This is some GRE shit. I don't know.
Prompts.
To what degree do you agree with this statement? Punk is a failed project.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, without even. I mean, first thought.
No,
first thought, best thought. Yeah. I mean,
I
have a whole. You know, how much do I care? What exactly does that mean? But yes, first thought, best thought. Yes, it's failed. I mean, I don't know what the project even was. I mean, I don't. It can mean so many. It can mean so many things. But.
I think I want it to mean, and the sort of yardstick I want to measure by is the degree to which it has initiated meaningful and lasting change politically. I'm like not aesthetically. Is it a failed project aesthetically? That's who knows, who cares? But like to the extent that it had a mission and has a mission, can we look back at certain times, certain events, and say this happened neatly, and we can squarely say that this had a 1-to-1 ratio effect of like cause and change between punk ethos and legislation being changed or support for certain legislation being passed or something like this. Maybe there are some. I can't think of any. To what extent did the Clash or Rage Against, like, to what extent, what do we have to show? Well, except like military wives loving killing in the name of, like, what do we have to show?
Well, not only would I say that failed, but I mean, I would also say I don't think that the project of punk was positive political change. I mean, people take things in different directions where it's like about activism or something. I mean, as far as punk and its original thing, I mean, it's either nihilistic or just. I mean, the Sex Pistols. I mean, you know, just wearing a swastika shirt and being like, "We're fucking with symbols." I mean, that's not Nazi shit. It's not communist shit. It's just punk, bro. It's whatever. I sort of, to me, when I think of punk, I actually like don't think of people trying to change.
It's more of like a gadfly kind of mentality, or like a
I don't know. It's
throwing a rock in the cog just because, man.
Yes. That's kind of my idea of punk, I suppose, you know, or sort of like critique without an object or something.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that. I mean, you know, I don't know what. I mean, if we're going back to like the Stooges, you know, I don't know what. You know, what Iggy Pop's project was. I mean, I suppose normalizing homosexuality to some extent, even though he wasn't. But, you know, this kind of like...
This is the line of argument that I think could be made, which is like a sort of soft political power of normalization and exposure to certain ideas that weren't mainstream. I think in that sense, if there is a mission or project at all, punk, I guess, succeeds.
Yeah, maybe that's it, you know, but I mean, I don't, you know, it's like Yeah, I mean, Fugazi, talking about abortion rights. I mean, I don't, the Sex Pistols, I keep thinking maybe they're the only, but as like an early punk, I mean, it's like, I mean, Bodies is an anti-abortion. So, I mean, they both feel like punk. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
They both, I mean, yeah, I mean, I will say, like, me getting into punk, it was a sense, it was all immediately at odds with my interest in metal and classical music and jazz. But I mean, for me, the thing that I liked, to whatever extent I liked punk as a kid, it was about just this vitalism that really did not have any project politically or otherwise. It's really just this spirit. I mean, only political in the sense that it was not even anti-capitalist, but just uncorporate. The fact that it's separate from corporate interests and power, it just felt like, I was like, oh, the shit that's on the radio is boring compared to this shit that's not on the radio is just a question of boring, or like, so I did, the idea of positive political change. I mean, to listen to Fugazi in an apolitical way, it sounds utterly absurd, but that's like me at age 12 with a skateboard. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's
yeah.
like,
yeah, kick flipping and yeah. And to what extent were people in the room at a Fugazi show who weren't pro-choice, like whose minds were really changed? But this critique without an object thing, is that like a theoretical phrase?
No,
it seems minted. I like it.
No, I just sort of said that because, I mean, it's just like, punk is just like deflating and liquidating things, but like without, like, I mean, because, people are like, nowadays, it's like the alt-right is the new punk, the conservatism is the new punk. And it's like,
yes,
well, if you consider certain things to be hegemonic, then going against those things would be punk. If you think that XYZ is hegemonic, it's just sort of like, but everyone's just in disagreement about what the hegemony even is now. It's like, so
this, yes, I think like the poster band to bring up with this critique, with critique without an object, is Muse is always pointed to.
I did not expect you to say that, but
oh no,
they manage. It's really, that's funny.
It's impressive.
That's funny because I was at Lollapalooza in the 2007 in Chicago, like, just whatever that means, because it doesn't make any sense because it wasn't even a thing anymore. But because I was playing this backing band for this guy. Anyway, I ended up being forced sort of to see Muse, and it was,
I'm listening.
It was inscrutable what they were talking about.
I know
what they were against was like, it was like almost like a Spinal Tap like bit or something.
Yes.
Like, how are you able to be raging against something at this much and not have it be clear, to be this vague about what it is? It was almost
impressive.
I was like, it's almost impressive. Like, how are you like, they won't do this, we will stand up to them, and they can't tell
they will.
How do they manage it?
It's insane.
It's
they have one banger. It might be that. Is it that song? Knights of Sedona. It has this like surf rock guitar and it's very sick. But yeah, it's wild how they get away with that.
Yeah.
And what really breaks my heart, I'm a huge Jeff Buckley fan.
Yeah.
And
wonderful. Yeah.
That guy, Matthew something, owns the Telecaster, Buckley's Telecaster.
Nice.
That guy.
Nice or not nice. Like, that's funny that it would be him. Yeah.
It's just like, nothing is fair if that guy owns the Grace guitar or whatever.
Yeah. That's brutal. That's fucking
it's
brutal. In the comments, Ariel says rage against a machine. That's great. I love that.
That's excellent. Yeah.
Any machine. What machine? We don't care. It
doesn't matter.
That's amazing. Let's leave it at that. Just kids, just rage against. Just find a machine and rage against it. Whether it's abortion rights or
$5 footlongs. That's not even.
Let's.
You need an oven.
$5 footlongs.
They're 6 now, I believe.
Let's leave it really there.
A Subway thing.
Yeah, let's throw a trash can through that window. Anyway, any final plugs? I mean, genital shame in general.
Genital generals. I'm follow me at the predictable places. If you're on the East Coast, come out to one of the shows. I love meeting people. I really mean that. We'll be again, Chicago, not East Coast. I understand that, but we're starting in Chicago, going to Philly, going to Cleveland, going to Boston, and then we're going to Montreal and in Toronto. So yeah, I'll leave that
Sick.
plug.
Awesome. Yeah, and it'll be a link to Genital Shame Records in the whatever it is, not comments, the blurb bio thing below. Description of the video. So awesome. Well, I will see you on the 26th in Trans Pecos.
Sounds good. Thanks, Charlie.
Yeah, thanks a ton for coming. It's a great time.
My pleasure.
All right. Peace.
All right. Talk soon, man. Bye.